Welcome to Vibrational Revelations. I'm Elena,
I am Alejandro.
and thank you so much for being a part of Vibrational Revelations and Holistic Community. We truly appreciate you being here with us, exploring the nature of our reality through different characters that we bring to you, we share. And of course, thank you so much for your requests. Today's episode is based on your requests. Today, we're going to reveal to you two characters that are in the news quite a bit lately,
Mhm.
Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. Before we dive into what constitutes their reality, how do they perceive their reality through the lens of consciousness, looking through vibrational frequencies of awakening scale. And by the way, for those of you that are not familiar with the scale, please make sure that you download, and the link is posted below. It goes into the description of each number that we're going to reference today. Now, the other aspect is we've done a video quite a while ago on vibrational frequency analysis. This is something that we offer privately, and this is the map that we use to give you the disclosure or the information of how we break down what constitutes each person's reality. Now, before we begin, this is truly a tragedy. I believe it's a tragedy what's going on with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. To disclose so much information publicly, and for those of you, of course, that are in any type of abusive relationship, make sure that you seek out help. This is very important, that you don't stay silent and you seek out people that could help you in your life. So let's begin first with Amber Heard. Let me just pull up her numbers for you. Now we're going to look over 30 different categories. Now she incarnated, again, the scale is from 0 to 1,000. She incarnated at the frequency of 50, right? This is a frequency of indifference. And also the frequency of, it could be used as a frequency of manipulation. She was born at the frequency of 50, and her overall frequency is 50 as of today. So she's very consistent, and you actually could see that, a lot of times in the past we've referenced this 50 frequency, especially people who incarnate and are born at this frequency. We used to reference it as the shadow players, but what we've realized over time is these people are serving also as great awakeners. Okay. Health she views through the lens of 30. Okay. So this is body, mind, and soul connection. Of course, there's a lot of drugs and alcohol that have been involved based on all of the things that you're hearing in the news right now in the courtroom. Finances she views through the lens of 50. Again, indifference. Also can be used as manipulation. Creativity, 50, which is fascinating because she is an actress, and you would think that she would have this really high frequency relationship with her creativity, but for her it's 50. Now, relationships she views through the lens of 50. Again, 50 is the frequency of indifference and manipulation. Now, this is something new that we're introducing for this episode. We wanted to look into her relationship to herself, which is 50, indifference, and relationship to others is 30. Personal growth she views through the lens of 50. Philanthropy, 30. Intuition, 50. So again, we talk about intuition often. It's not how intuitive a person is. It has to do with when information comes through, what frequency lens does a person use to process this information, right? And in her case, it's 50. So again, this indifference. There's 4 aspects of intuition that we measure. Clairaudience is 50. Clairsentience is 30. Clairvoyance, 50, and claircognizance, 50. Now we're going to reveal to you the 4 aspects of her intelligence, how she views different aspects of intelligence. The IQ, which is the intelligence quotient, is 200, which is the frequency of courage, right? EQ, 30. So you can see it's really low emotional quotient. And as you know, emotional intelligence is far more superior than the intellect, IQ. SQ, the social quotient, which is very fascinating because as you're seeing, right, in people that incarnated low frequencies who are in the public eye, who are perhaps like in Amber's case, she's an actress, right? So 500 in her case, SQ 500 means she has very magnetic persona, right? So there's a level of magnetism that draws people in and attracts people to her. So this is kind of, you could say, the facade, because what's underneath is the frequency of 50. AQ, which is the adversity quotient, and we often talk about that because it's something that we inherit as children. It's passed on to us from ancestral lineage. It's how we deal with challenging situations in life, right? And this is a lens that is being invoked in her case to process challenges, and it's a frequency of 30. Now we're going to go into percentages. How much does she enjoy playing a role in this lifetime as Amber Heard? 92%. This is out of 100%. So she's having a really good time playing her role. In the ego, she's 100% in the ego, and out of that, 100% superior. In the now, 94%. Integrity, 61%. We measure integrity to self, in her case, is 99%. Integrity to others, 31%. Self-awareness, 95%. Clarity, 96%. So she's very well aware of what she's doing. Alignment with divine purpose, 100%. Alignment with personal purpose, 93%. So some of you might be wondering, for those of you that are new to our channel, how is it that somebody with such a low frequency could have 100% alignment with divine purpose? And that is because she's here to play her role, and she's doing it really well. Okay? And everyone comes here to play their own role, and we're all walking our own journey. So in Amber's case, this is who she is, right? And you can see with relationships at a frequency of 50, 100% in the superior ego, she's definitely playing out the role of a narcissist. Compassion, with very low compassion, 59%.
And she's fully present, right?
Fully present for her experience, yes. Compassion, 59%. Empathy, 86%. And energy purity, that means how much does she embody the frequency of 50, is 99%. So this is the read, vibrational analysis on Amber Heard. Alejandro is going to give you the frequencies for Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp. He incarnated at a frequency of 310. Was born at a frequency of 50. And his overall frequency is 125. That is the unfulfilled desire.
Addiction,
right?
125 is a true addict frequency.
Right. He views health through the lens of 30. Finances, 50.
Those two are a match for them.
Exactly the same. Creativity, 500.
There's a difference.
Major difference.
Yes. So he's extremely creative.
He's in the flow when it comes to creativity. Relationships, 125. That's the unfulfilled desire again, right? Personal growth, 200.
Well, we were going to do relationship to self, remember?
Oh, we're including that. Okay.
Yeah.
Relationships to self, 30.
Oh, so he sabotages himself.
Relationships to others, 125. So when it comes to establishing relationships or maintaining relationships with other people, it's always the unfulfilled desire that is the dominant emotion there. You know?
There's addictive tendencies there.
Addictive tendencies, yes. Creating codependencies too, no? Personal growth, 200, right? That's the heroic feeling. Philanthropy, 500. And we've heard this the other day.
He's very generous.
That he's extremely generous, right? With many people. So this, in
Shows
this
it,
case,
yeah.
shows this, and paired with the addictive tendencies, it's kind of like it's never enough, right?
Well, he's seeking for outside
He's
approval.
feeling this void that he's experiencing, right? Intuition, 50. And again, this is not how intuitive he is, right? This is what the filter that gets activated when the information comes through, and how he processes that information. Under intuition, we have clairaudience at 50 as well, clairsentience at 50, clairvoyance 50, and claircognizance 50.
And oftentimes, we've noticed too, people who are doing drugs or alcohol, which alcohol is a drug, it really kind of dulls down your intuition, your intuitive ability to process information with clarity.
Yes.
So that also corresponds
and it impacts the level of trust and confidence too, and to apply or incorporate that information to all the other aspects, right? Especially into the aspect of creativity. So if he were to process this information at the flow level, then his creativity will go through the roof, He could reach even the 1,000 level. It's very possible. Now, also in the case of people that use psychedelics too, we've seen that often. I will say
mind-altering substances, period.
Yes, 9 cases out of 10, their intuition is impacted drastically.
Yes.
Now we go into the aspect of intelligence. Under IQ, we have 175. Is always his relationship with his IQ is about seeking approval, right? EQ, emotional quotient, is 50. So he's emotionally disconnected.
And that probably, a lot of times, it stems from childhood trauma as well.
Yeah,
right?
More than likely that's the case here, especially looking at the rest of the numbers. Under SQ, 500. So he also has a magnetic presence, right? It's similar to...
Identical to her.
Identical.
They both are at SQ 500.
That's
so
right.
they've connected in that superficial level, I think, in the very beginning. That they were drawn to each other through the magnetism of their persona, and underneath it all, of course, there's a lot of trauma.
Right, and this is how comfortable one is when it comes to being
in the public eye.
Social settings, right? Surrounded with lots of people. In the case, they're movie stars. Now, AQ, the adversity quotient, is 30. Interesting.
He actually said it in one of the court documents or actually I heard him say it, that Amber reminded that relationship reminded him of the trauma he experienced from his mom. Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
It'll be interesting to read his mom, but I don't think we're going to do that.
No.
Now we go into percentages. In the joy, as of how much fun he's having playing the role of Johnny Depp in this reality, and it's 56%. This is from 1 up to 100%, right? In the ego, 100%. And 100% of that is the inferior version of the ego, so the extreme opposite
of Amber,
right? Amber was 100% in the superior.
It's actually a classic case, I would say, of narcissist and an empath, right? An empath with severe childhood trauma and a pure narcissist. That's the relationship that they've had.
In the now, 60%. And with what Elena just stated, doesn't mean that one is the victim and the other one is the predator, right? Or, but it's because no one is a victim, really. We experience what we allow, or if we're able, especially if we're capable of shifting out of that or turning away from it. Yes.
And oftentimes, if you look at our graph that we've created, right, the vibrational frequencies of awakening, you'll see that frequencies below 200 have to do with victimization consciousness. Again, it's all a conscious choice. So when a person shifts out of that and goes into 200 frequency and higher, you begin this activation process of recognizing that you're no longer the victim consciousness, right? It's not the world against you, but you have a free will in many ways, and you're here to make choices.
Yes, and that you carry the world within you. Now, in the now, 60%, how much time he spends in the now, in the present moment, 60%. Integrity, how loyal and faithful he is to his core values and beliefs, to his truth, 77%. Integrity to self, 70%. Integrity to others, 98%.
Wow.
Drastic difference with Amber.
He is also self-sabotages himself based on the integrity to self is quite low, right?
Due to the childhood traumas, as you mentioned.
Unprocessed childhood traumas.
And linked to the frequency that he's currently experiencing, the 125, right? The unfulfilled desire. And usually addicts tend to punish themselves in a way.
Yes.
And sabotage themselves.
And 100% inferior ego, absolutely. This feeling of not being good enough, right?
Right. Self-awareness, 71%. And this is how self-aware he is of the current level of consciousness that he's experiencing, right? The 125. Clarity, 76%. Also, how clear his vision is of his overall perspective of life, of the path he's on, yes? Alignment with divine purpose. This is how well he's playing the divine role he decided to play before he incarnated. And we compare this to self-realization. So for him, it's 93%.
Interesting, right? We actually thought about it after we read his numbers, because he incarnated at 310 and he's at 125. And that's a really high number of divine alignment.
To be so far off from his incarnation frequency. Yes.
Perhaps this is part of his soul journey and part of his evolution and expansion in a way.
Yeah, who knows, maybe this situation that he's going through could serve him as a catalyst, right?
To awaken.
Yes, definitely. And realize that, okay, this is enough. I've had enough. Something has to be changed.
Yes.
In order to experience a greater feeling, right? Alignment with personal purpose. We compare this to self-actualization. And this is more as of his sense of fulfillment. For him, it's at 89%. Compassion, how compassionate he is, not only towards other people, but towards himself. I mean, usually, that's where everything begins, right? How compassionate one is, towards oneself, and that
reflects
how compassionate we are towards other people. Is really a reflection of how compassionate we are towards ourselves, right? So for him, it's 86%. Empathy, 90%. Energy purity. This is an indicator of how much he is embodying the current level of consciousness that he's experiencing at 125. Yes. And at 66%, often we have found that someone that has the energy purity at that level, that is experiencing major interferences.
Some kind of soul hijacking in a way, right? Of darker forces coming in.
Negative entities could be, right?
And that comes from alcohol and drug abuse, of course. That comes with that.
That really opens and weakens his energy field, right? So he's vulnerable to being attacked by
darker forces, and
yes,
he is with that number.
Lower vibrational frequency forces, right? They somewhat could be keeping him there, holding him hostage, because he continues to entertain drugs and alcohol and so forth. Then it's just
basing in that.
Yeah, it's very difficult to come out of there, right?
And
so that's it for Johnny Depp.
So we thank you so much. We look forward to hearing your feedback. Of course, this is an absolutely unique angle to look at. I know there's many different ways of looking, either through astrology. Of course, we don't do astrology, but this is just a fascinating way of looking into the depth of a human being. We wish them well, both to Amber and Johnny.
And this is just to understand the way they process the information that is coming through them, right? And the way they process what they perceive, really to understand it on a deeper level, not to judge, just to understand it, and in order that will help us to understand ourselves even better.
Yes.
And that is the idea, to continue to master ourselves, to enjoy life to the fullest. Yes.
Thank you so much for being here with us, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.